Everyone, as you all know, the so-called axis of evil countries are China, Russia, and Iran. These three are the main ones because they all have large populations. Iran alone has 92 million people. On the periphery, there's also North Korea, or the DPRK, but North Korea only has about 20 million people. It's a very small country with a small territory. If he ever saw a B-2 bomber in action, it would scare him to death. If the US really wanted to take him out, they could deploy all their B-2S and then follow up with B-1BS and B-52S. With such a small territory, there's really nowhere to hide. And in just over a year, there will be 100 B-21S, enough to bomb all of North Korea to ruins within days, and that would be the end of them. Given the current situation, since a ceasefire is possible and he can't actually develop nuclear weapons, it's most likely that Iran will reach an agreement with the United States. Really, it all comes down to one thing: enriched uranium. He wants to use enriched uranium for power generation. So, could that enriched uranium be refined abroad and then delivered to him for use in his power plants? And then, as long as it's under supervision, if he's willing to do that, the issue between him and the United States would be resolved. Just think about it. The Houthis, Hamas, and Hezbollah have all been scattered by Israeli attacks. Whether or not Iran supports them now doesn't really matter. If Iran and the United States thaw their relations, China will be in trouble. First of all, the so-called axis of evil countries would be broken up, with the middle link gone. They still have two underlings. Actually, there are three main core evil countries, plus a half, which is North Korea. The two underlings are Venezuela and Cuba, and these are the most troublesome. If the situation in Iran changes, say, Iran makes peace with the United States, or if the Iranian regime changes, like if Khamenei finally dies, if that happens, and the moderates come to power, China would be the biggest loser. All of China's investments in Iran could be wiped out. If Iran suddenly turns friendly with the US, that would be a huge problem for China. China and Iran signed a 25-year cooperation agreement, a $40 billion strategic cooperation plan in 2021, covering energy, transportation, finance, and strategic security. Since 2012, a lot of money has already been spent. What does that include? For example, the Yadavaran oil field. PetroChina invested $2 billion in the first phase of development, and it's estimated to produce 115,000 barrels of oil per day there. All right, the North Azad-Egan oil field. PetroChina signed a $2 billion deal, and it's now producing 75,000 tons here. South Pars is located here, in this region, and is known as one of the world's largest natural gas fields. This important site is situated off the southern coast, making it a key location for energy resources. The South Pars field plays a significant role in the area's economy and energy production, and its location here highlights its strategic importance. The Phase 11 liquefied natural gas project in Qatar has already reached a proposed scale of $3.6 billion USD. CITIC Group lent $1 billion to an Iranian bank to support energy infrastructure. China and Iran are also cooperating in the renewable energy sector, exploring solar power plants and deep processing of copper mines. Investments of several $100 million have already been secured. Basically, those mountainous areas in Iran get a lot of sunlight, so they're using solar power generation. As for China-Iran mining, I think these are used for rare earths. In 2024 and 2025, the mining development and processing industry will see investments of $1.3 billion USD, centered around the Bandar Abbas port, right here. This is the Persian Gulf. Chinese companies are evaluating the possibility of entering the logistics sector at this port. The port is mainly invested in by India, since India buys a lot of oil from Iran. However, the China-Iran agreement has reserved the opportunity for the Belt and Road Initiative to participate. Additionally, Beijing hopes to build a China-Afghanistan-Iran highway, starting from Hami in western Xinjiang. In this way, they plan to construct a highway. From here, it goes to Turkey, and down here is Iran. First, let me tell everyone, China is investing in the modernization of Iran's communications infrastructure, including landline fiber optics, 5G base stations, and network upgrades, with an investment of $795 million. China continuously provides financial support to Iran in exchange for oil. These are the reasons. All right, let me add, China is always worried that others might cut off its maritime routes, which would prevent oil from coming in. So it has built many of these very expensive projects. One of them, the furthest one, goes all the way to Iran, passing through to Iran. Because oil is exported from here, transported through here, through Kazakh, and then to China. This way, they won't be choked off by others. That's basically the idea. The furthest route can reach Ankara, Turkey, and even go to Europe, specifically to Lithuania. Another route is built to Pakistan. Another route is built to Myanmar, always worrying that others might cut off their maritime transport. Let's take a look. This is such a foolish plan. The China-Iran Railway is 1,600 kilometers long, passing through Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Afghanistan, and Iran. That's how it goes. The China-Iran Railway just opened a month ago. It was launched on the 16th, and this railway cost $5.6 billion US. You'll understand how ridiculous rail transport is when I explain it. If you rely on rail for long-term transport, every freight train, how much can it actually carry? 3,100 tons, which is equal to 23,000 barrels of oil. If we're talking standard containers, that's 55 40-foot containers. Or 110 TEUs, those are 20-foot equivalent units. Each train can only carry about 100 TEUs. How many trips can a train make in a year? About 10 trips, which is roughly 230,000 barrels of oil, or 31,000 tons. If a single train could run all year, it could transport 231,000 tons. 231,000 tons in total. Do you know how much a large container ship can carry? A large container ship can carry 240,000 tons, or 1.76 million barrels of oil. In one trip, 20,000 TEUs. Is that a big deal? If it makes 8 trips a year, that's 14 million barrels of oil. You can transport 230,000 barrels of oil, but they can move 14 million barrels. And then there's the shipping cost for railways, which is $30 per barrel. You might as well not sell it. Oil is only $60 a barrel, so half of it goes to shipping. By sea, it's only $2 to $3 per barrel, which is more than 10 times cheaper. So, how much can the entire China-Iran Railway actually transport? Right now, it's estimated at 300,000 tons. 300,000 tons. If the whole railway runs at full capacity for over a year, it can transport 1 million tons. Just think about it. That's only the load of a single container ship. One container ship can carry 1.92 million tons. Tell me, isn't that ridiculous? You're hoping that after more than a year, you can move 1 million tons, which isn't even as much as what a single large oil tanker can carry. The railway's throughput and transport capacity just aren't enough, and there aren't enough trains. It's only 2% of UCGL's capacity. In the short term, it can only transport around 100,000 tons, and the cost of rail freight is 10 to 15 times higher than shipping by sea. There's absolutely no way it can replace maritime transport for bulk liquids. And how much did they spend to build it? $5.6 billion US. Isn't that just foolish? There's really no way it could ever replace sea transport. It doesn't have the transport capacity to replace sea shipping, yet you spent so much money building this railway. Just maintaining and servicing it will be a nightmare. And also, if Iran, let me tell you, were to become friendly with the US and simply stopped selling methanol to China, China would already be in trouble. Originally, half of China's methanol comes from Iran. That's also irreplaceable, just like how that ethane comes from the US. Basically, China's supply of these raw materials is completely at the mercy of others.